Ever wonder about what witnesses do on Steemit? Curious to know what projects and initiatives are in production to make your time on Steemit more productive? This is the podcast for you. Your co-hosts, Andre and Shane, will talk about witnesses, what they do, what projects they have in development, and what concerns about the blockchain and Steemit.com they're focused on. They'll also invite the men and women who run witness nodes onto the show to discuss their roles, responsibilities, and goals. Welcome to The State of the Witness. Steemit Incorporated, the writer's block, and the respective owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests. Statements and show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the writer's block or of Steemit Incorporated. The material on the State of the Witness webcast is provided for educational and informational purposes only. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the State of the Witness podcast. I am Anarcho Andre. I am a witness, I'm an aspiring author, and I am a law student on winter break for the 2 weeks that I get it. And I'm joined, as always, by my fantabulous co-host, Shane.
Hey guys, it's Shane. I am a physical therapist assistant by day and Steemit dork by night. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic. To everybody who actually pays attention and watches the show, which is like all of, I think, 2 people right now, not including us. I apologize for not having a show last week. I was visiting with my girlfriend, Lady Maharet. Also, her name is Chelsea. And I was up in Canada at the time, and I didn't have internet. I had actually planned on doing it, but with the internet situation, it kind of all went to pot. Like, I didn't even have internet on my phone, so it wasn't really too much I could do. But I did make sure to be back in time so that we could get one more episode out before Christmas. So I guess this could be
Woo!
like our Christmas episode, right?
Yeah. We can sing some carols. We could make fun of Muxie. We could do whatever we need to do. So, so the girlfriend, is this like one of those Niagara Fall girlfriends that don't really exist, but you say you met her there?
What? You've talked
Have,
to her.
have I?
Yeah.
When did I do this?
On Discord. She's been in general chat.
Oh, well, who is it?
uh,
I pay attention to everything.
I know.
You know what?
It's all your
I've got
fault, Shane.
I've got coworkers that I have no idea what their names are. So whenever I go to the meetings, they're like, "Hey, Shane," and I'm like, "Hey,
Hey, you. What's up?
how are you?" Yeah, it's I'm a mess.
No, so her screen name on Discord, as it is on Steemit, is Lady Maharet. It's one word, LadyMaharet. She does
Oh,
art mainly. So her big thing is art. She does a lot of sketches and illustrations. So she doesn't do a whole lot of writing, but so I've finally managed to get her on here about, I want to say, like a month and a half ago.
oh, I remember. Okay, now that you say that, yes, that rings a bell. But beforehand, I didn't know. I don't pay attention to things.
The irony of you asking if she's real after you've actually spoken to this person is
Hey,
phenomenal. So thank you for that. That's like an early Christmas present for me.
is it beyond the realm of possibilities that I have hallucinations?
No, it's not actually. I would expect that.
So what's been going on? I think it's actually been 2 weeks since we
Yeah,
had a
actually, you know what? Yes, it is because the last one went to pot. So yeah, so it's actually been 2 weeks since we had a show, and I'm very, very sorry about that because I think it was my fault on both occasions. Um,
Oh, last week was goofy. My work just decided to throw a whole bunch of extra patients at me, so that was kind of my fault. I wasn't even here in time to even run it myself. It was just that long a day. I was like, I was toast.
yeah, and I've had days like that too, so I totally understand. Time before that was my fault. I had Kate that evening, so I wasn't really able to do a podcast. Although, honestly, at this point, does it really matter if she just decides to come on here and like talk into the microphone? I mean, what do
No,
we do really? What do we do? We don't do anything.
we don't. We
It's a
sit here,
show
we
about
chat it.
nothing.
It really is, and it seems like every show I have is a show about nothing. It's my wife. I do a couple shows with Asaria, and that's her thing. She goes, "What are we doing? We just talk about nothing all the time." Like, yeah, that's radio, honey. That's what we do.
Hey, if it works for Seinfeld, it can work for us.
You're darn tootin'. So what's been new besides Canada? What part of Canada were you in?
I was in Alberta, in the city of Stony Plain, which is right outside of Edmonton.
Oh, how is it? Is it pretty up there?
No, not really. Not
Cold,
not particularly.
miserable.
Yeah, it's cold and miserable. It's definitely not the kind of climate I would ever want to live in.
So speaking of that, do you know we had about a quarter inch of snow fall here in Austin about a week and a half ago?
Yeah, I did hear about that. As a matter of fact, we actually got some snow in Alabama too, right around the same time.
Did your place did your area freak out like ours did? Like before there was even anything on the ground, schools were canceled. I mean, it was melted and the roads were dry the very next day. No signs of any snow at all, and the schools were closed.
Oh yeah, of course. That's how it goes in places that don't actually get snow most of the time.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I make
Actually,
fun of a lot.
funny enough, I in North Carolina when I was stationed at Fort Bragg, and it snows there, not every winter, but enough times to where people are not necessarily surprised by the snow. And anytime it snowed on base, everything shut down. Like if there was even the possibility greater than 40% of snow that day, base shut down. Everybody went home.
That's kind of nice, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it means I got the day off, but it was like a quarter inch of snow on the ground and it was melted the next day. I was like, well, so that was a day off for nothing. That just means I'm going to have to suffer more today. Woohoo!
Uh,
Yeah.
twice the work.
Oh,
Get in there.
yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
So I saw you were having some problems with your witness again since the last we talked, I believe.
What? When?
Yeah, weren't you? Have we had a
No.
show since you were having the problem with um your shared memory?
No, I think we had well, did we?
Did we? I don't know. Everything's starting to run
Crap.
together. I mean,
It's too long back in the past. I can't remember it. It's like it was decades
back
ago.
in yeah, exactly. It's been like a week and a half, 2 weeks. We're like, I don't know. It's so long ago.
I
Well, I
remember
guess.
when. I remember.
Oh,
Well, if we haven't mentioned it, I have got it taken care of because for whatever reason, and I wrote a witness update about this. I do recall that, but I don't know if I mentioned it on a show. For whatever reason, when I set up my dedicated server through Privex, the global file, like the actual server configuration file, the system configuration file, for whatever reason, it had set and dedicated only half of the memory that was available, half of the RAM that was available to be accessible by Docker. And for those of you who don't know, you can set up a witness node using an application called Docker, which is built in, I think, Python. Either way, it's basically set up to where you don't have to do all the manual um, commands to set up the witness node. It just kind of streamlines the process. But for whatever reason, the system configuration file was only allocating 16 gigabytes of my 32 gigabytes of RAM to Docker to use. So I was like running into serious problems, and I missed a couple of blocks. Yeah, it was I only missed two, but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but still, I missed a couple of blocks, and I tried replaying the server, and trying to figure everything out, and just nothing was working. And then, thank God for Dracos. As always, Dracos comes in
knows
the
his stuff.
clutch, and he's like, well, have you checked your FS tab file, which is the system configuration file, right?" I was like, "No, I haven't. Should I?" "Well, you might want to check it and just make sure that it's actually allocating or allowing uh, Docker to use all of the memory that you have on the server." And sure enough, that was the issue. To be fair, though, it wasn't just me not being able to figure it out, because, like, me, Dracos, I want to say, who else was it? I think the Marky Mark also kind of, like, tossed ideas back and forth, back and forth. And it took us, I think, a solid, like, half hour, 45 minutes to finally troubleshoot the issue down. So I don't feel 100% stupid, because apparently this is not, like, necessarily a common thing.
No,
So,
that's the
so
first
at
time
least
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so at least I don't feel bad about it. Like, oh, okay, well, this is because I'm clearly incompetent. No, it's because it's not the first one, two, three, or four things on the list of things it could be. And I did manage
Yeah,
to troubleshoot and check through them, so I'm pretty happy about that.
good, good. I'm glad you got that figured out. Yeah, that's one of those that would have driven me nuts. I wouldn't have. That definitely wouldn't have been the first thing I checked either. Oh, so guess what? I got my seed node up and running this week. So that's
Yes,
yeah,
I
that's
saw
about a week
that.
now. Yeah, I'm very happy about this. And now, you don't have a seed node yet. You just have the fallover, correct?
That is correct. I only have a failover witness node. I have not started a seed node or anything else.
Seed node was easier to set up than I could have ever imagined.
Tell
In
me,
fact,
tell me about this. Tell me about this because I'm kind of curious about doing that as a next step. I don't think I'm quite positioned to where I can run an RPC node yet, but a seed node would
no.
probably be a good step up.
Yeah, seed node, and it was so simple. I know people that are listening may not understand exactly what I'm talking about here. Um, Andre will, so just bear with me here. So when we first go in there, we basically download and run the Docker. Um, some guy 123 is his name has set up this Docker that we can download, and that's what helps us get our witness up and running. There's a little bit of configuration we have to do to actually get the witness going, but the fun part on running a seed is all you do is basically run the Docker. That's it. Download, run the Docker. In 2 hours, you have a seed node. No configuration, no nothing. Just take note of the IP address of your machine, and you're done.
And if you could let everybody who's listening know, in case they don't know what a seed node is, could you explain that for them?
A seed node is basically just a way for all of the different for Steemit and the computers to talk to each other to keep some stabilization, keep the network nice and stable. So it's spread out among a bunch of different computers so that there's no real bottleneck point. It just helps with a little bit of stability. And if you're a witness, the more I'm reading about, the more you're kind of expected to run a C node alongside of it.
Yeah, that essentially becomes the next step, right? Because you have your witness node, which of course solves for blocks, but the seed node is designed to act as an additional node on top of what you already have that is running the blockchain as well. So it acts as an additional ledger, which, like you said,
Correct.
adds to the stability of the system overall.
Yeah, and it was so simple. I mean, it was so simple. I actually contacted Dracos because it was so simple. I thought I missed something. I'm like, there's no possible way this could be all you have to do to get this up and running. And I contacted Dracos. I said, I really feel something's telling me that I've missed a step somewhere. He's like, no, try to tell that in, and if you get this error message, then you're up and running. And I did as he said. I got the error message, and that was it. So, yeah, real simple.
Which, if anybody is considering about or like wanting to look into this, some guy 123 actually has a step by step on how to launch what he calls Steam in a box or the Steam Docker. And it really is like if you don't want to run a seed node, if you just want to run a witness node, change one line in the config. That's it. That's all you got to do. So yeah, I didn't realize it would actually just be that simple. You just load it and there you go.
Yeah, you don't have to put in your username or your key in the config file. You don't even have to touch the config file. You don't have to change the IP address in the config file. You just run it and go. Nothing. I was shocked how easy it was, and yeah. So I was real happy that it went smoothly, and so far no problems with it.
Now, if only I had a ton of money lying around so I could run a whole bunch of seed nodes, really get
Hey,
my
if
name
you
out there.
hey, if you've been posting, you have the SBD in your wallet to get a month or two out of this.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm trying to sit on that so that way, when the bill comes due for the two servers I have now, I can sustain myself for 2 almost 3 months. which is, by the way, I'm sure everybody has been talking about this. I know I've seen plenty of posts about it. How awesome is that? I have like 30 SPD in my wallet, and I can almost pay for 3 months of server hosting.
That's fantastic. And you saying that, I've been looking at SPD coming in as units because if I look at it as dollar signs, I will lose my mind. So I've been like, okay, 5 units of SPD to get my witness for this month. That makes more sense to me than the 5 times 15.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And anybody who gets their server hosting through Privex, because Privex, the nice part about them is they allow you to pay with either Steam or SPD, because it's run by a guy who's a witness here on Steemit. So it only makes sense. He's awesome. But um, when you go to pay your monthly fee or when you go to pay for it, it tells you how much SPD you're going to need to pay. And I remember when I set up my second one, it was like 10 SPD. Or no, I'm sorry, it was 16 SPD, which paid
Okay.
for the $70 server, the first payment, and the $20 setup fee. And
Yep. Yep.
I was floored by that. I was like, "Oh my god, this is fucking incredible."
I was fortunate enough to set mine up at the peak of SPD. So my setup cost was I think it was 7.14 SPD. And
Nice.
I should have. I don't know why I did not prepay for a few months. I should have, because we did have a little bit of a dip today in SPD. It's hovering around the $9.50 range right now. But I should have prepaid. Kicking myself.
Well, you know what? That's all right because it dropped down earlier. I saw it was like almost down to below $8 at one point. So I think it's starting to. I mean, I didn't think that $13 was going to be sustainable. I didn't even think $12 was going to be sustainable for any period of time. So I'm not surprised that it dipped down. I am actually happy that it hasn't dipped down further. Knock on wood. But I think we're gonna see where the actual support for SPD is, as opposed to what it was being inflated to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm interested to see how this plays out because I'm not really sure. I really enjoy the fact that SPD has been w- well overvalued, but I really still to this day I don't understand the point of having two different currencies on the system. I understand Steam dollars were meant to be stable. Uh, they wanted to peg that to $1 so that merchants may want to use it, and then there's a stability there, so you wouldn't have to worry about, well, do I have to reprice everything every day? You could be assured that this was going to be set pegged to $1, and that way you could set prices and not worry about the incoming SPD if it matches what the true cost in fiat is. Uh, so by that standard, I completely understand the point. Steam is your investment currency, and SBD would then be your actual trade currency. But who's using SBD for trade? No one that I know of. So,
Well, I mean, Privex
well,
does,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I would think maybe like a handful of other people. I know there was a group that were trying to set themselves up like the Amazon or the eBay of Steam it, and I'm sure they're going to transact in either Steam or SPD.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I totally understand what you're getting at. I do.
yeah. There's been no widespread adoption of SBD for commerce. So with that in mind, yeah, I don't see the point in having two currencies, but I do like the fact that it's way up there.
Not only that, but and here's the other thing that's always kind of irked me is like if its purpose was as a sort of internal, uh, like it's a sort of dead instrument, right, for Steam it or for the Steam blockchain, so that way one SPD was always worth $1 worth of Steam. Then why would it even be traded? Why would you be trading it out? Like it should just be pegged. Period. Done. Shouldn't be a publicly traded currency. I guess is what I was getting. That's kind of what you know I never really understood that part. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess I do because you have to transfer between people, right? And once you allow wallet transfers, then you can it's inevitably going to go onto an exchange, right? And one of the ways you want to kind of curry or gather investors is to allow people to trade this token. But at the same time, if it's supposed to be a dollar pegged token to represent $1 worth of Steam, it should have remained an internal token.
Right. And we do see that internally it is pegged. That's why Steam is, trading at the last I looked was maybe 22 cents internally. Externally, it's all over the place, but
Well, actually, you know what? Externally, it's not even that bad. It's hovering between like 250 and 350, which okay, granted, that's like a 30% range, but I mean, it's staying within that boundary. It hasn't dropped below 250 that I've seen, even when SBD lost, a good $5 worth of value, nearly half its value. So Steam's holding pretty steady. Um,
yeah. But it is internally pegged to one. It's just weird. There's a lot of discussion, and there's been some heated discussion on the Witness channel in Steam at Chat.
is there ever not heated discussion about this sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's true. Um, everyone talking about, do we need to get rid of SBD? Do we need to start printing more SBD? We can set what's called the bias on our Witness, and that basically says how much SBD should we be printing to get out into circulation. And the thought was, by some of the witnesses, increase that bias by an ungodly amount, and that will bring the price of SBD back down to that $1 peg. Then there's other people saying, no, this is good for the platform. We're actually getting people interested in blogging. We're actually building sort of a Steam middle class, and we should just let this go and see where it ends up. Yeah, some heated discussion. I'm of the opinion that we should just sort of let it go and see what happens. Let the free market figure itself out. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I can understand the idea behind, okay, well, let's just do away with SBD. What purpose does it really serve other than to be a second currency that's literally just based on the same thing as the other currency we have, Steam? So why not just get rid of it and we can just deal with a single crypto, which will then absorb the price increases that would have been going to SBD. So I can understand that perspective, but I mean, we have both of them. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see what happens.
Exactly. We'll just kick back and see. Enjoy the ride because it's a fun one right now. It's definitely a fun ride. I was able to I cashed them out. This is the first time that I've actually got on and figured out how to not figured out. I mean, it's not tough, but got onto Coinbase and actually cashed out to go into the bank account. And I was pretty happy with a couple of deposits we put in there.
Well, there you go. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah,
I did that. I did that when SBD was like $1.05
yeah,
a while back. Well, actually, I did that when Steam was a dollar, like right around $1, and so it wasn't bad. Of course, this was powering down my Steam power. This was God. When was this? It was like June, I think, when I got got back onto the platform. Um, but it's an interesting feeling. It's interesting to know that like you actually have all of this stuff kind of backlogged, and you're like, oh well, I could do something with this.
yeah. I can do this. I can do, and then what is it? June? What is it? 6 months later?
Yeah, I know, right?
5 months later, all of a sudden you're like, oh, why
Oh,
did
why
I do
didn't I?
that?
Why didn't I wait?
Oh,
So
my hindsight is 2020.
the number one advice for any crypto trading really is just hold,
Hold. Do not overtrade.
hodl.
Just hold, hold, hold. It's going to be crazy, but you'll be happy in the end. I
So,
sort of,
oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, with that in mind, I do have to kick myself. I put up a post about a week ago that I'm finally dipping my toes back into investing into cryptocurrencies, and I've told the story before how I've lost, and I don't know the exact number, but it's like 7 or 8 Bitcoin that I lost through two of the exchanges that decided to cut and run. So that kind of scared me off from actually going in and trading. Um, but I started getting back into it this week, and I had myself in Ripple. I had myself about $250 worth of Ripple sitting there, and I'm watching it for a couple days, and it's just hovering. It's just hovering, and I'm hearing all this talk about um, Cardano. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to switch over to Cardano. So I switch over, and sure as shit, the very next day, Ripple jumps by 60%. It's like, son of a bitch.
That's like
So,
me every time I try. That is me
yeah.
every time I try.
And it was like, you know, later that night, I'm sitting there watching YouTube, watching all these, I don't know how smart they are, all these analysts on crypto. But one guy says, don't overtrade. I'm like, amen, brother. I learned that today.
And that's really what it comes down to. Crypto is a very volatile market, and I mean by its design, it pretty much has to be because the only demand for these tokens, the only demand for these currencies, is by the people purchasing them on the market, right? It's not like there's a central organization saying, okay, this is how much it's worth. It's worth whatever it's worth. It's worth whatever what people are willing to pay for it, right?
Right, right. And that's the one thing. A lot of these cryptos, there's nothing really backing them besides what they say they're going to be able to do. There's not really a mass adoption outside of Bitcoin. I guess you could make the argument that Ethereum and CryptoKitties is sort of a mass adoption, but outside of Bitcoin, there's not really any sort of mass adoption on any of these. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out where some of these values are actually coming from, and
Well,
I don't
funny
know.
enough, and I
It's
had
a
a
weird
conversation
world.
about this on my podcast yesterday, which I do not on Steemit. I've been meaning to post them on Steemit, and I never get around to it because I'm just a lazy bastard, I guess. Um, but we were having a conversation about this, and with the explosion of interest in Bitcoin, because I mean, even before Bitcoin, jumped to $10,000, when it was making those price hikes from like up to 1,000, then 2,000, then 3,000. The people that were in Bitcoin that had been in Bitcoin for a while and had 10, 12 Bitcoin hanging out and had been in their wallets, those people had already kind of started to trade in other currencies, but the mass adoption effect after the price started to spike pushed them further into altcoins and pushed the people that had gotten into it recently, got into Bitcoin recently, pushed them into starting to consider altcoins. So it's kind of like the more popular Bitcoin becomes, the more people move their funds out of Bitcoin and into other things, I guess.
I could see it. And one guy sort of explained it as Bitcoin is sort of the plasma TV. If you think of cryptocurrencies as televisions, uh, Bitcoin was plasma, and everyone was just wowed by plasma. You have to have a plasma TV. That's the way it's going to be, high definition. And then LCD came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at LCD," and that would be a different altcoin coming out. Now it's the LCD display, and everyone's all excited about that. So to me, Bitcoin is sort of like that plasma, and all the other cryptocurrencies are sort of the new generations that come out after.
Yeah, that's not inaccurate. I always discuss Bitcoin in terms of being like gold. Essentially, it's an asset, right? It's a value asset rather than necessarily being something that you hold on your person to use day to day. It's sort of a store of value. And then once you have your Bitcoin, you then diversify that Bitcoin into, various other things that are, have a little bit more um, niche specific uses or that are more interesting to you or, that are the hot new things, so on and so forth.
Now let me ask you something. I don't know how deep you are into this. Do you think Bitcoin's going to be able to keep that store of value um, idea with it? I saw today that the fees are going up again. It's slow. It's not really able to scale very well. Um, is it going to always be that store of value, or is it going to be overtaken by something?
Oh, without a doubt, I'm sure it's going to be overtaken by something in the eventual future. I mean, I can't make any accurate or intelligent guesses as to when that'll be, but the fact that it can only handle, I think, like 7 transactions per second, really cripples it in terms of it being used and adopted as a mass currency. Now, of course, there's other cryptocurrencies, there's other blockchains that can handle way more transactions at a time and that can do all sorts of other things. Case in point, Steam can handle hundreds of thousands of transactions a second. No big deal, no transaction fees. You don't even have to remember a wallet address. You just send to a username. But I don't know when that's going to happen, but I am almost certain that that will be the case. And part of the reason why you see this, upsurge in alts recently, or in the last 6 to 8 months, has been because everybody's trying to get into Bitcoin now that everybody knows about Bitcoin, and the system is getting bogged down. The same thing happened with Ethereum with the CryptoKitties. They were backed up, I think, like hundreds of thousands of transactions. I mean, even Bitcoin right now is backed up, tens of thousands of transactions. So the system is really starting to strain under the load. And we were talking about Bitcoin Cash on my podcast yesterday. And, right now everybody's like, oh, yeah, it's running much faster than Bitcoin, yada, yada, whatever. Bitcoin Cash is not really fundamentally different than Bitcoin. It's the same blockchain technology behind it. So it can't handle all that many transactions. And once people start kind of migrating to Bitcoin Cash instead of Bitcoin, or using it instead of Bitcoin, they're going to run into the same problem. So what I think we're going to see is there's going to be like a few well-known name brands that are going to kind of hold their value, sort of like blue chip stocks. They're not going to be ones that are like traded on a regular basis necessarily. And they're going to be the ones that sort of kind of hold value over the long term, so that there's not like a whole lot of volatility in that market. But you're going to see a lot more people translating that value to try and make, to earn more and to kind of diversify their portfolio into higher volatility cryptos, which is, I think, is what we're starting to see now or what we've been seeing over the last, 8 months to a year with the rise of, the 1,000 different altcoins that are out now.
Oh, there's so many out there.
I think there's like 1,400 that are out there.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous. I don't know the exact number, but you look through and there is a ton. Pensive just dropped a link in here on unconfirmed transactions. I'm going to open this up and take a look.
Bet you I'll beat you to it. Oh, wow. 345 unconfirmed transactions.
And just,
holy shit.
That
and it
just
keeps
going
on
up.
going. Golly gee.
That looks like the national debt counter. Have you ever seen that one where the money's just rolling up and rolling up?
Yep. Yeah. Golly gee, man. But This is what I'm talking about with Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin can function as a store of value only if you're, not really doing much with it, right?
Right. Oh, this is insane. And this is why Bitcoin will not be the coin that revolutionizes commerce. When you think of how slow this is and how long a merchant would have to wait to confirm the purchase, it's definitely not happening.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's great because it has name brand recognition. Like by now, I'm willing to say that like 75% of the world knows what Bitcoin is. At least 75% of the world knows what Bitcoin is. If I can go to a gas station here in Montgomery, Alabama, and the cashier has heard about Bitcoin and knows what Bitcoin is, then it's reached that name brand recognition. The problem is it can't handle that name brand recognition. So that's where I'm hoping our cryptocurrency, our blockchain, Steam, can kind of come in and be like, hey, if you want a more stable, if you want a crypto, it's a little bit easier to transact with, hey, we got you. No transaction fees.
Pensive is saying he was quoted a $200
Holy
fee
shit.
earlier. That's ridiculous.
Well, actually, you know what? Somebody else was. I was talking to somebody else about it last night before I went to bed, and it was it was ridiculous. I mean, it was damn ridiculous how high the fees were.
That's just silly. Yeah, I 3.24 transactions per second is what Bitcoin is currently doing. That's just slow as it can be.
It really is. But it goes back to, this is not a crypto that was designed to be adopted to this. I mean, I don't think that when it was developed, it was ever intended to be adopted as like to the degree that it was adopted. I'm sure that, that was the ultimate goal. I'm sure Satoshi Nakamoto wanted this to be, the currency that broke the big banks. But structure wise, it doesn't have staying power. It just doesn't. Which, I mean, there again, maybe part of the point of having Bitcoin was to encourage people to develop alternate blockchains like we have, so that there could be, things like Dashcoin or like even Litecoin. I think was it Andrew that mentioned something about Facebook and Litecoin? Have you? It was mentioned on the podcast yesterday. Did you hear anything about that, Shane?
No, I haven't. What's the news on this?
So supposedly, and this is a rumor. I mean, it hasn't been. There's nothing official going on yet, but supposedly, Litecoin, you'll be able to purchase things like from the how they have the marketplace now on Facebook. You will
Sure.
be able to transact in Litecoin on Facebook.
Hell, just based off the rumor, I should probably pick some up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I went into Ripple and I went into Litecoin, which right now is in a little bit of a dip. I think it's lost like to 3%, like between 2 or 3% over the last 48 hours, but it's not terrible. It's definitely a good time to get into it. Um, but yeah, can you imagine if Facebook was like, okay, we're going to be doing, we have all our transactions, we have all of our shopping and stuff, and all the things you can do on Facebook. You can do it in US dollars, or you can do it in Litecoin. Holy shit. I
Wow.
mean, granted, there's plenty of people that are jumping ship off of Facebook, and some rumors about Amazon adopting it too. That would be fucking incredible. I know you can pay in Bitcoin on Amazon right now, can't you?
I don't know if you can or not. Um,
No,
I
Pensive
don't.
says
I
no.
don't remember. No, can't use Bitcoin yet. Only rumored. I know Steam, the gaming platform, STEAM, they stopped accepting Bitcoin recently.
Yeah,
Um,
because of the unconfirmed transactions, it takes fucking forever.
yeah.
Days now instead of like hours. So really, it's
Ah,
not. Well, I mean, to be fair though, even if it does take days to process your transactions, not really much different than doing it with a credit card at this point.
well, mm, yeah, I don't know if I buy that because the transaction is confirmed immediately with a credit card. I mean, you may not see it show up in your account for a day or two, and that's more due to the banks manipulating things. But yeah, a credit card transaction is pretty much instantaneous. Oh, I was unaware of this. Now, do you think that's necessarily true? I mean, I do know of people that have been denied using their credit card immediately due to a lack of space or a lack of room to make a purchase on there. So I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah. No, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting ride, dipping my toes back in this and seeing where I can go with all this the crypto trading now. Pretty excited about it.
I'm excited too. All right. See you, Andrew. I'm
Oh,
excited
so
too.
hey,
I don't know where it's gonna go, but
yeah.
it's gonna go someplace good. I'm sure.
Hey, so the other thing we need to discuss are, and I think I'm not sure you were fully aware of this. I brought it up before the show, but how do you pronounce his name? The Haitian situation that's going on right now on Steemit. Um, this is pretty crazy. So there's a user on here, Haitian. He's a crypto analyst, and he's putting out about 10 posts a day. And those 10 posts are each post is getting upvoted to the range of two, three, $400. And there's basically one account that's following him. There's a whole bunch of accounts following him, but there's one major one, and it's a whale, and that whale is giving all 10 votes a day to Haitian. And at this point, he is taking up almost 7%. It's like 6.7% of the total daily rewards, just this one account. And that is jaw dropping.
Yeah,
So,
I don't even know what to make of that. Like
well, Bernie has started flagging it, trying to get some of those down. And he put out, yeah, I wonder how much better Bernie could do if he would use a little diplomacy in his posts instead of just calling everyone pussies like he did in his latest post. He was complaining that the other whales are just letting this happen when this is a great time to flag this down to respectable levels, and no one's wanting to touch them. It's a bizarre situation. You should really read up on this. It's interesting to see between this and then the belly rub scam that happened last month. It's a strange time. It's a strange time on the platform, especially with the way everything's skyrocketing as SBD and Steam is skyrocketing. To have this weirdness happen at the same time, it's just go to the front page of Steam it and look at the trending page, and the top trending will be Haitian in almost every spot. They're kind of junk posts. So
actually no, not for me. There is one
no,
Haitian post I see here, but all the rest of them are from, people I would expect to see. Exactly, Andrei-C. Let's see who else. Bernie Sanders has two of them. Jesta has
he
one.
is Asian. Yeah, there's another Haitian one too. Jeez, look at some of those.
Shit's getting weird, man. Shit's getting weird.
Wow. Here's Bernie's got one worth $1,082 on here.
Holy shit. Well, yeah, but look at the user engagement though. So I'm actually kind of, I can sort of understand that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Say what you can. He does get the engagement going. Look at that, 927 comments, 490 on this other one. That's silly. I have a hard time even responding to my comments on my posts.
I get that way sometimes too, especially like if I'm wrapped up in other things, which friggin' 9 times out of 10, that's almost always me. So, here I am. Like I always talk about, oh yeah, it's one of the best ways you can really build a reputation for yourself on Steam. It is to, engage on your posts. If somebody comments, respond to them. If it's a stupid comment, you don't have to respond to it. But if it's an actual comment from a person, definitely respond and, definitely start a conversation, build that relationship. I'm over here like, oh God, there's like 6 comments. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing.
What do I
Kate's in
do?
the other room. Maggie's breaking things. The cat's insane. Shit. And then like 6, 8, 10 hours go by and like, oh yeah, I still need to respond to those. Which I really do feel bad about that. I do. Because how much I've harped on it in the past. I really feel bad about not getting to comments, especially when people leave them in sincerity.
So what else is new? What so you're getting back into you're on your winter break. You're going to be going back to school. When does that start again?
January the 2nd. So I have the day after New Year's is when my classes start. I have one class, 4 days a week for 4 hours. And that ends the 8th? No, the 5th? Yeah, the 5th. So for whatever reason, it's 3 days long. I don't even know. And then the real work starts on the 8th of January, and that's when all the rest of my classes start. And then it's balls to the wall, man. It's nonstop.
Nonstop. So what is it this next semester?
I have persuasive legal writing as opposed to what I was doing prior. It's legal research and writing 2. And so prior to this, the legal writing course was focused on presenting, uh, like taking a fact pattern and applying the law to it. Now, what we're going to be doing is persuasive legal writing, which is mainly used in like appellate briefs for anytime something goes up to the Supreme Court on a constitutional issue. It's always persuasive writing because you're trying to say, okay, well, this is what the Constitution says. This is why the law that I'm arguing against is wrong, and this is why you should believe my side. So it's a little bit similar because you do have to obviously use logical analysis in what you're presenting, but the tone is going to be much different because it's not so cut and dry, right? You're kind of creating a narrative. Um, Second half of civil procedure, we're going to talk about jurisdiction and venue. Let's see, and then contracts and property, which are two areas that I am very intensely interested in. So I'm going to be very excited to do them. They're also going to be extremely hard. So yeah, there's that. And then of course the two hardest courses in my day or in my week are both going to be like at the earliest possible time in the morning. So I got contracts from 8:30 to 10, and then I've got property from 10 to 11:30.
8:30? Are they trying to keep it a secret?
Maybe.
8:30. Who learns at 8:30 in the morning?
I don't know, but I sure as shit don't. I'll tell you that right now. This is going to be
Not looking
brutal.
forward to that at all. No way. I would not want that.
Oh shit. So I know I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I've pretty much given up on adventures in law school because there's just no way I can handle uh, the information load of trying to write a post as well as do my homework on the same day. So that's just not going to happen. But I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
All right, Rhonda, have yourself a good night. Enjoy
Yeah.
that dinner.
Enjoy dinner, Rhonda.
So I started Upgoder back up again. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I was not. I have not been
Yeah.
aware of anything. I've been in a communications blackout because apparently the Arctic Circle doesn't agree with cell phone service.
Of course not. You don't need cell phone service up there.
You
So
will
yeah,
live by the land.
so yeah, I started Upgoder back up again. I've got it running on a different bot at this point. It's the same idea. It's just running on different script, and I have 1% payout going to Tark, so Rhonda can get some food and some vaccines and whatnot for all the little animals she has running around up there.
That's awesome. I am so glad to hear that.
Yeah. It's like I was trying to think because I have 1% going to MSP Waves to help the guys over there that do all of the work because Rondon and Global Cop over there they're just tirelessly working.
Yeah,
So
they're
I have 1%.
powerhouses. They're the
Yeah,
Dracos of Steam Radio.
right. So I was like, okay, 1% to them to help them pay for all of their servers and everything that they need. And then I was like, well, if I can do 1% to them, I can do 1% to someone else. So I was like, I'm going to do it to Tark. I'd been telling myself I was going to make a donation for a while. I'm like, this is almost a set it and forget it sort of donation. and it helps the doggies, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it.
So
What's
what's coming up for you? What's coming up? You all set for this weekend and next weekend, bringing in the new year?
Yes, I am. I have one more gift that I got to buy my daughter because I got her Christmas present early. It was a bicycle. She got her first bicycle yesterday. We went to Toys R Us. She picked it out. We bought it, and we've been riding it around for the last 2 days. So
Oh,
I'm very excited about that. That was really cool. I'm actually probably going to make a post about it. Be honest with you, because there, there's nothing so awesome as seeing a kid with their first something that they really want. You know what I mean?
yeah. So what was this?
It was. I mean, it's a small bike. It's got training wheels on it, and it's um, the color and paint scheme is based on the Shimmer and Shine television show. It's a
I
cartoon show with two genies that help a little girl, and they end up messing up the three wishes because they misunderstand what she's saying. But then by the end of the show, every episode, everything is all hunky dory, and all have a good time.
I have never heard of this show.
Most people who don't have small children will probably likely have never heard of the show. Not a bad
Well, that's
show though. Honestly, not a bad show, and she absolutely adores it. So it was good. I was very very happy about it. Put it all together
and
myself. I still have the mechanical know-how to put together a bicycle from a box.
look at you.
Yeah, I only had to read the
Nice.
instructions once. Only had to read
I
the instructions
remember
once.
I remember that present that I received. That and see, I can't remember the exact age. If I was 7 or if I was 8. Not sure which Christmas it was. It was one of those two. And I got the Mattel Intellivision for Christmas. And that's what I wanted all year. Every time we went into one of the stores, I'd play it, and it was just wanted it. I didn't think I was getting it, and it was that present that was sort of hidden back behind, and it was the last present given. And yeah, so I think I gave the same response your daughter probably did when I opened that up, and just the pure glee that I had when I saw that in there.
That was like when I got my N64 because I didn't realize I was getting an N64. I told my parents over and over and over and over again, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I need this. This has to be in my life. And so Christmas came, and I opened up, the big present, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, I wonder what this is. In my mind, I was like, I'm not getting an N64. That's nonsense. I have my Sega Genesis. I know they're not going to get me anything else. But open it up as an N64. I was like, oh my god, yes! Oh god, it was great. I don't recall a time that I was like in an instant that I was happier than that particular moment.
Yeah, yeah, same way for me. I opened that up and sat there. Me and my dad played baseball the rest of the night, and there was a game on there called Astro Smash. And by today's standards, it was a pretty primitive system, but man, that was a lot of fun.
Oh
So
well,
much
yeah, of course. And I mean, you look at something like Super Mario 64 now, and you're like, ooh, yeah.
fun.
But oh my god, that was so much fun. I spent hours playing the shit out of that game. And then when GoldenEye came out, oh my god, it was over.
I never
There
did
was
play GoldenEye.
oh, how could you not have played GoldenEye? What the hell
You,
is
you know,
wrong with you?
I picked up the N64 and I got it specifically for the two Zeldas that came out on it.
God, you're
And
lame.
what do you mean?
GoldenEye is like one of the
I,
greatest video games ever made. It was like the
I
number one. It
understand
was
that
the
now.
number one N64 game for I think like 6 years running.
I understand that now, but at the time, I was completely unaware of it.
Were you like living under a rock, or
No, I was working and paying a mortgage, man.
so were you living under a rock, or
No, no, it was an apartment. It was on the second floor. It was real nice.
then why were you paying a mortgage on it?
Or rent, mortgage, whatever you want to say.
Aha! And the truth comes out, you liar.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! This escalated quickly.
I see how
Wow.
it is.
Here we go with
I see
this.
right through your
Jeez.
tricks. If you could see me right now, if we had video, I'd be making the motion with like the two fingers, my eyes to your eyes. I see you. It's a shame. It's a shame we only have audio. This would be
Yeah,
infinitely
yeah,
more amusing
yeah.
if there was video attached to this.
It's probably for the best. I'd be doing the John Cena, rubbing my hand in front of my face. Saying, no, you can't see me. You can't see me.
Oh,
And you're sitting.
this is why I love co-hosting a show with you, man. I
You
can't
can't
believe you
see
never
me.
heard of Goldeneye when it was out.
No, I knew nothing of it. I mean, I take that back. I probably did hear of it, but I did not know that it was as good as people claim it to be.
Was it like how earlier today you asked me if my girlfriend was real after you'd actually spoken with her?
Not entirely unlike that.
Okay. I had to get a dig in about that. I'm sorry. You set
Uh,
it up and I knocked it out of the park. It was a nice slow pitch. I was like, well, I can't let this go to
that,
waste.
that's embarrassing.
Oh no! So we did that. I need to get her something for her birthday though. I had actually bought her. I bought a Nerf blaster for myself, and I bought her a small one, just like a single shot. Um, she's been asking
I
about Nerf
bought a
guns
Nerf
for
blaster
forever.
for myself.
Well, okay. I mean, that's how are you supposed to have Nerf wars if only one person has a gun? You know.
That's fair enough.
And actually, coincidentally, mine is a little bit easier to handle for her than hers is because it's the one that has like the plunger on the end where you just like you pull on it, and it's got a ton of tension in it. I don't understand why there's this much tension in it. You'd think with all of the engineering technology we have now, we could invent a system of springs where like it doesn't require friggin' like 15 pounds of force to pull this thing back. But no, I got that, and I had initially thought of wrapping that up and making that her birthday present. But she was way too excited about it, so I was like, all right, that's fine, whatever. You got your Christmas present early, cool, not a problem. But you're not getting your birthday present early, which her
When's
birthday is on the 26th, so it's pretty much the day after Christmas.
Oh wow, that stinks for her.
Well, you would think so, but me and my ex-wife, we made it a point when we had her. We were not going to shortchange her on her birthday. So she was going to get something for Christmas and she was going to get something for her birthday. And we've stuck to that for the last, it's going to be 4 years next week. So I think we're good on that.
Cool. Good for you.
With any luck, she'll end up being like me and her mom. And she'll, by the time she's 12 or 13, she'll be like, I mean, $200, $100, I don't know. Just give me some cash. I'm good. The gift card to Target.
Can I just have a cash equivalent instead, Dad?
And you know what? A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, that just destroys the spirit of the holidays." I'm like, I mean, does it though? Not really. It never did to me. I was like, I would much
No.
rather have $100 or $150 cash in hand to go out and figure out what I want to get for myself than have people that I care about laboring over whether or not they're getting me the right thing and then end up not getting the right thing and be like, oh well, it's a nice trinket and all, but doesn't really help me much.
All right. No, it's better that you get what you want. There's no mistake. There's no returning anything. It's easy to do. I like it.
I do too. I've always been a fan. That's ever since I was like, God, 12. I've always asked my parents for my birthday. Uh, I don't know. Give me cash. That's fine. However much money you want to give me, and I'll go and get myself something.
Yeah, we get the our present came in my wife's from my parents, and it was a nice gift card to Amazon, and
For
I used
$20.
it. No. I used that to $25.
Oh, big
Yeah.
spender, big spender.
No, I use that to get the brand new microphone I'm talking to you on right now.
Which,
Really
by the
happy
way,
about this.
sounds fantastic. So it
Does it
was
sound good?
money
Does
well
it sound
spent.
better?
Yes,
Good.
your buttery smooth voice is even more buttery smooth.
Oh, I like you. You keep talking. I want to hear this.
Was it? What was that line from The Matrix Reloaded? It's like wiping your ass with silk.
Oh no, I never saw the Matrix Reloaded.
Oh my God,
I saw enough of the first one to know that I probably wouldn't like the second one.
you've heard of it though, right?
Ah, yeah. Oh yeah. I've completely heard of it because I saw the first one and I didn't like it. I didn't think Neo pulled off nearly what. To me, he was no good. You're in a situation where you can do pretty much anything you can set your mind to, and the best thing he came up to do was slow down time. Come on, eh, underwhelming.
Well, it was a progression. I mean, it didn't. He didn't just like it didn't. Flip a switch in his head, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can suddenly do everything I want to do." It was instinctual, and then he realized, "Oh wait, this is something I can control." And then it starts to get into it, right?
I guess. I don't know. I didn't like the first one enough to figure out if he knew how to do more stuff. Uh, yeah,
Because he does
just wasn't.
way more than slow time. Like he stops bullets and does all sorts of other things.
Yeah, I'll take your word
Flies.
for it.
He flies.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know. Yeah, come on, it was a crappy movie. Admit it.
Uh, it wasn't the best movie. I wouldn't quite go so far as to say it was crappy, but it wasn't the best. It certainly wasn't as good as the original or the first one. The first one, since it's supposed to be a trilogy or whatever. But it wasn't as good as the first one. I'll give you that. It was okay. It was entertaining. It was one of those ones where like, yeah, I'll watch that if it's on TV.
Yeah, who's lying now? Huh? Who's lying now?
What?
You.
How am I
You're
lying?
you're sitting there and you're backpedaling. You're like, yeah, it was okay. Okay, it wasn't good. Yeah, it wasn't as good.
No, I
And
want to know how you didn't see it because everybody has seen The Matrix Reloaded.
I saw the first one,
Yeah,
and I
we're not
thought,
talking about the
well,
first
this
one.
I
We're
know, but
talking about
I
the
thought
second one.
I'm thinking to myself, this sucks. Then they're like, hey, here's part two. I'm like, no, 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 you're not getting me twice. I
Okay,
already felt,
see, and that's
I felt
where you're
wrong.
wrong because the original was fucking awesome. The first was awesome. So clearly, your opinion on this is not to be trusted.
So, but was I correct that the second? If I didn't like the first one, the second one was even worse.
No,
So, is
because
the
if you didn't
second
like the
one?
first one, your opinion is automatically invalid, and therefore it doesn't even count. It's this is a non sequitur.
So let's put it this way. So if the first one, let's say, is ranked by someone who has completely lost their mind as being good, was the second one be better or worse?
No, it'd be about the same. It was good in different areas that I would have wanted to see in the first one, but the gravitas, I guess, wasn't there. It didn't have the same sort of feel. You know how like Alien and Aliens, they're both great films for different reasons. Does that make sense?
I didn't see them.
Oh, for God's sake, Shane. I can't even carry on a conversation about movies with you.
We can, but we need to talk about good movies. I mean, you come out with The Matrix.
Alien is are you going to tell me that Alien is not a good movie?
I have no opinion on Alien because I have not seen it.
And the reason for this is
Just
drum
haven't.
roll, please.
Just one of those. It just never happened. So yeah, I didn't see it when it was out, and I just continued to not see it. Not for any reason. It just worked out that way. What?
This is you may this, like I have to channel Gmux into this podcast. That's what you're doing to me right now.
What?
Can you not have seen Alien?
Easy. How many movies have you not seen?
A ton, but none of them that are noteworthy.
You've seen every single noteworthy film.
Yes,
You have seen Casablanca.
yes,
You have seen Gone with the Wind.
yes,
You have seen The Graduate.
yes,
You have seen Marathon Man.
yes. Actually, I have. I've also seen the Maltese Falcon. In case you wanted to pull that one out.
No, I wasn't, but that one I was going to go there next. What about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yes, I have.
You, man, you're much better than I thought. Now, all of those better or worse than The Matrix?
Oh, come on.
See what I'm going? If you wanted to have talk about movies, we could have talked about the good movies, but instead you went with The Matrix.
The Matrix is a
Ugh.
great film for its generation. You can't compare Casablanca with The Matrix. Like that's
You know
not
what
a
was a
valid
great
comparison.
Okay. Which generation would you call The Matrix? Was that what, mid 90s?
Yes. Well,
Okay,
mid to late
so
90s.
okay, so let's take
We could
Pulp Fiction.
even okay, I'll even give you a wider spread and you could spread it out to like from 1980 to 2000. because it was released right at the end at like 99, 98, right? 98, 99. So I'll even give you the spread from 1980 to 2000.
Oh, I can think of a ton more movies I'd want to see that were better than The Matrix. And
In
we could
science
start.
fiction,
Yo, sure. We start with The Empire Strikes Back from 1980.
yeah, okay.
Boom,
I'm
mic
not. I'm
drop,
not going to argue with
right
that.
there. We start 1980. That's already a better science fiction film than The Matrix.
Okay, that's like saying, oh, okay, well, this one was number 5 and this one was number 1, so like, why would you even watch number 5? That's again, you're missing the point.
No, there's no
Yes, you
point.
are. You are so
Matrix
missing the
was.
point. You are so missing the point. Go on.
Oh,
Go down your list of
it,
sci-fi slash
it's
cyberpunk
like
movies that
it's
will.
like the people. It's like the people that were trying to tell me the Titanic was a good film. Oh my god! Or the people that liked that thought Forrest Gump was awesome. Oh, they give
Oh,
me a
you
pain
shut your
in.
mouth. You
Oh,
shut your mouth right now.
it was such a sappy. Here's where you cry film. Oh look, Forrest is crying. Let's play some sad music. Your turn to cry. Let's put
That
some
was an
popular music
American
behind this.
masterpiece.
Oh
You take that
no.
back. You take that back.
Ah, jeez. Pulp Fiction was a masterpiece.
Yeah, it was. So was Forrest Gump.
That was Forrest Gump was not a master. Oh my goodness. Oh jeez.
I'm
Oh,
sorry that you don't
so
have feelings inside of you. I'm going to
oh,
apologize on your behalf.
I have feelings, but I'm
You
not an
don't.
emotional faucet where I'm
You don't.
told to cry on
You are
command.
cold and unfeeling. You are a
You,
machine.
Forrest Gump was full of okay. You cry now. Right now is when you cry. Hit the
I
button.
know, but that's because you did. That was, oh God, the heartstrings. This is because you did.
Oh jeez.
Actually, the most emotional point in that entire film was right in the middle when when he was having that flashback to Vietnam, and Bubba was dying in his arms. That was the most emotional point in that movie, up until the point I had kids, and then the most emotional point in that film was when he met his son for the first time. I about lost it. I
Yeah,
lost my shit.
that scene was actually well done. I just didn't like the in Forrest Gump, and I can't really argue with Forrest Gump too much, besides being silly to do it for entertainment value. Um, but I do stand by that it was a little bit too um, pull at your heartstrings, like purposely pull at your heartstrings.
Well, yeah, and
That
I'll
was a
and I'll
little
give
much.
that to you, but I think that was the purpose of the film. I mean, if you've ever done any digging into the book that it was loosely based on, yeah, not even close to the same thing. Actually, the book was kind of bizarre. I'll be honest with you.
You know,
I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have made it through the workshop if it had been submitted.
I've only read one book where I felt the movie was actually superior to the book, and that was The Natural. Have you read that one?
I have not. I've seen the movie, but I have not ever read the book, and that's actually true for most movies I've watched, except for Michael Crichton films. Michael Crichton films and some Tom Clancy movies. I've read the books, and the books are vastly superior to the movies. But no, I have not.
Yeah, that was the first time when I finished reading the book, I thought to myself, the film is superior in all ways, just completely superior.
Well, based on what I know about the book Forrest Gump, the movie is by far a more cogent story and makes way more sense and is not bizarre, like anywhere near as bizarre as the story that was attempted to be told. So
Oh,
I guess in that way, yeah, I get Forrest Gump's that movie for me. It's movie's far and away superior to the book.
yeah, I don't know. I'd have to read it. Um, I'm never going to read it. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves.
All right, man. Well, hey, I know we're getting late. I have a whole bunch of Christmas stuff I got to get on here. My wife is
Lame.
giving
You
me
don't need family.
my wife
Family's for losers.
my wife my wife is giving me the stink eye. We've got so much stuff we saw.
I'm sorry, Zaria. All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to say in closing before we go?
No, I'm all set. I just hope everyone gets everything they want this weekend. If you do not celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a very good special weekend and an extra day off on Monday. And if you guys don't hear, have a good New Year also.
Happy Festivus, the holiday for the
Happy
rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us. Oh, this could have been the airing of grievances show.
Oh, damn it. We missed. Oh, shit. Well, we kind of aired grievances, sort of.
Yeah, we
I
did.
complained at you for not, knowing things that you should know as a grown man, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I let the things about you buying yourself a Nerf gun slide, so we're okay as a
All right.
grown
Well, in that case, Shane, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. If I don't see you before then, have a happy New Year. If I don't see you before then, I'm sure I will. But thanks again for doing the show with me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on once again.
And for everybody listening, we will be on next. When's New Year's actually? Is that next Friday?
It's in the no, it's 1 week after Christmas, so
So
they're
it's next
exactly 1 week
Monday
apart.
or next Tuesday, right?
Yeah, New Year's Day will be Monday.
Okay, cool, perfect. All right, well, for everybody listening, we will be back next Friday for another episode of State of the Witness. I'm not going to miss it because I'm back here in Alabama where I have internet, unlike the frozen northern wasteland where I was. Let my girlfriend hate the place where she was living. But we will be back at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will catch you then. And until then, you guys have a wonderful evening. Merry Christmas, and have a Happy New Year. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.